Let's go.
But I said, if you gave me Mahomes, if you gave me Lamar Jackson with his great legs and Mahomes' great arm, or you gave me Baker Mayfield, who would I want? I would want Baker Mayfield, and the reason why is because Baker Mayfield...
I really think that now this is the worst case scenario for the San Francisco 49ers, is that they're going to have to cut ties with Jimmy Garoppolo if I were them. What? Oh my God! Whoa, man!
In any event, Kyle Gibson is definitely my NL Cy Young Award winner. Rock on, Gibson.
And even
No way!
Oh my God!
How's it going, everybody? I hope all of you guys are doing well right now, wherever you guys may be here on this great planet. It is Thursday, August 22nd. We are about to head into August 23rd, and a happy Aloha Friday to all of you on the East Coast. But welcome into another edition of Sports Weekly. My name is Isaiah Leon coming at you. My co-hosts tonight were unable to do the show tonight, so it's just going to be a solo program tonight here on Sports Weekly. But hey, you know, we got a lot of good topics to talk about. We got a couple great topics we're going to get into, and then we're going to call it a night. You know, it's going to be kind of a short show. I may have a couple guests come on later on in the program. We shall see, but we'll get into some baseball because it was a big thing that happened in baseball today. And then we'll get into the NFL. You know, the NFL season is almost here. It's about 2.5 weeks away. We are going to predict the divisions of the NFL, the NFC East, the AFC East, the NFC South, the AFC South, NFC North, AFC North, and the NFC West and AFC West. We're going to predict those divisions, and then after that, we'll call it a night. I'm not going to get into all my predictions. We're going to save that for our special NFL preview show that's going to be coming up, I believe, in a couple of weeks. So make sure you guys tune in for that. But without further ado, let's get into tonight's breaking news for the night. All right, so the breaking news comes from Seattle, where the Seattle Mariners, amid a massive slump, the Seattle Mariners have fired manager Scott Servais. The Mariners were up 10 games in the AL West over the Astros at one point earlier in the season, while the Mariners, behind a really pathetic offense and a really bad bullpen, the Mariners have fired Scott Servais. Dan Wilson, their catcher from the 90s, has been named permanent manager. And, you know, more changes are expected to the coaching staff, according to local beat writers in Seattle. Folks, my thoughts on the Scott Servais firing is, number one, it's about damn time. You know, it's about damn time that the duo of Jerry DiPoto and Scott Servais has broken up. But this is just one piece of the issue. The bigger piece of the issue still remains in Seattle, and that is Jerry DiPoto. Jerry Dipoto has run the Mariners into neutral. They're run in neutral. That's what they are. You know, they're not a team that contends for a championship. They're not bad enough to tank. They're just in neutral. They're not going anywhere. You know, the Mariners have the talent, but they're just run piss poorly. And I think that, you know, for Seattle Mariners fans, number one, everybody should definitely cheer because this is a great development. Scott Service should have been gone years ago. I mean, he should have been gone like back in 2022. I don't think that he was the right manager to lead the Mariners moving forward into this winning window. I think that he should have been gone prior to it, and the Mariners should have hired an experienced manager to help them, like a Joe Girardi, Joe Madden, you know, some of those big name managers that they should have gone after. But I think it starts at the top. That's where Seattle's problems lie. I mean, Jerry Dipoto has made the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen, 2 times. I repeat, he's made the playoffs 2 times in his quote-unquote illustrious career as an MLB executive. The guy's been a GM or a president of baseball operations for 14 years, and he has been to the playoffs 2 times, and somehow, some way, we treat him like a king. Why do we treat Jerry Dipoto like a king when that guy has done nothing to deserve it? I mean, he's done nothing in his entire career. He's made the playoffs 2 times in his 14 years, and we treat him like the Bill Belichick of MLB execs, that guy that's won like 6 freaking World Series title when the guy hasn't even made 1 World Series, let alone 6 World Series titles. I mean, the guy hasn't even made a championship series. He hasn't even made it past the divisional series. And we act like this dude is like the golden boy of MLB executives. What has he done to warrant that credibility? It makes no freaking sense whatsoever. This dude, let me tell you, Jerry Dipoto, he is a guy that is afraid of commitment. When he's with the Mariners, and this is what I have said, that I hated the Jerry Dipoto hiring by the Mariners in the first place, and why they should have gotten rid of Jerry Dipoto about 5 years ago. It's because when you think about Jerry Dipoto and what he does, Jerry Dipoto is a fraud. He is a guy that, you know, he's really good at identifying talent, but he doesn't know how to put together a team. When the Mariners have had some really good teams, guess what? He trades them away for prospects. They never go all in. They're always like, oh, we'll go all in next year. We'll go all in next year. Well, guess what? Next year, you have a winning team, and then you trade away parts of it. Why? Because you want to build for the future. Like, he's always building for the future. Well, when is that future going to be? Now. It's always the future, the future, the future, the future. Future. Every single time. Well, you've been there 9 years. When is the future? Are we going to wait another 9 years for the future to finally be now? Like Jerry Dipoto, I just don't get this hype around him. He's a guy that has done nothing in his entire career to warrant the credibility that we give him. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, this leash that he gets. He's been in Seattle for almost 9 years, and he's only been in the playoffs once. And I get, okay, the Mariners, before he got there, the Mariners had not been in the playoffs in 20 plus years. Well, guess what? Okay, you made 1 playoff appearance. Great. And you won a playoff series. Great. Can we have sustained success? Jerry Dipoto is one of the highest paid executives in all of baseball, and for some reason, he gets paid a lot of money just to be stuck in mediocrity and run in neutral. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I think that, look, Scott Service getting fired, it was a great thing, because him and Dipoto, they were a duo that were just linked together. They were best buddies. Everybody knew that, and they were going nowhere. Scott Service, like I said earlier, should never have been the Mariners manager after they got out of this rebuild cycle. But for some reason, the Mariners always loved to rebuild, and they, you know, are always rebuilding. Even when they have a winning team, they're always looking for the future. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And that philosophy starts with Jerry Dipoto at the top. But Scott Service getting fired, that was a great thing because the Mariners were not going anywhere. Someone had to be the fall guy, and sadly, Jerry Dipoto ain't gonna fire himself unless management fires him. So that's why he fired his buddy Scott Service, which I'm pretty sure was a very hard thing for him to do. So that's why he got rid of Scott Service. But the big thing still remains. The big issue still remains, and that is Jerry Dipoto. Jerry Dipoto should have been fired alongside with Scott Service. He should have been gone with him because the Mariners, like I said, they're stuck in neutral. They're not going anywhere. They're not going up. They're not going down. They're just stuck in neutral. It's like they're stuck in the mud with Jerry Dipoto, who's always looking for the future. You've been there 9 years. The future has to be now at some point. And that's why, like, if I'm a Seattle Mariners fan, I'm just like, screw you, Jerry Dipoto. You're always just fleecing us and being a con man and running our franchise amok. And it's enough is enough. And that's why, you know, you look at the moves that they made. Dan Wilson being named manager. I mean, oh, they need a new voice. Well, you should have got a veteran voice to help this team because this team is ready to win now with guys like Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball, led by Logan Gilbert. You should have got an experienced manager like a Joe Girardi. Joe Girardi would have definitely been able to win big with this club. Guy like Joe Madden could have helped out. I mean, you want to talk analytics. I mean, Joe Madden's up there. You know, you could have waited to the offseason to do a whole search, bring in a bunch of great managerial veteran candidates. I mean, Seattle would have definitely been an attractive job, but then you go ahead and name Dan Wilson, who has no managerial experience whatsoever. He has no coaching experience whatsoever. The only thing he's done is being a special assistant to Jerry Dipoto. And that's the problem. Jerry Dipoto only wants puppets. He doesn't want good managers. And that's why the Mariners are stuck in neutral. It's because of that guy at the top. That's a fleecer. He's a guy that is a con man. He's a guy that everybody says, oh, he's such a golden boy of executives. The guy has been to 2 playoff appearances in 14 years as an executive, dude. Give me a break, dude. Give me a break. Jerry Dipoto is the problem in Seattle. Dan Wilson should never have been hired. I don't know why he's given the permanent job when he has no coaching experience whatsoever. This is going to end in total disaster. And I really hope Mariners ownership just changes mind at the end of the season when the Mariners miss the playoffs and fires Jerry Dipoto and do a full managerial search because it's time for Seattle to clean house. They need a new voice in the front office. They need a new voice in the dugout. Dan Wilson he should be there just temporarily. He shouldn't be there permanently because with this group, you cannot have a guy who has never coached at any level be the manager. It makes no sense. It's like the Blue Jays hiring John Schneider. That makes no sense. And look what happened now. It's like when the Cardinals hired Ollie Marmot. It makes no sense. Go get a veteran manager that's done it. There's a lot out there. I mean, like I mentioned, Girardi. I mean, Jeff Bannister is available. You know, there's definitely a lot of guys that are available. I mean, Bruce Bochy. If Texas doesn't, and I found this out today, Texas has not re-signed Chris Young yet, their GM, who's very close with Bruce Bochy. If he somehow walks this offseason, I think Seattle should be in on both Chris Young and potentially Bruce Bochy if he leaves the Texas Rangers, because that's a World Series championship winning duel right there. And I mean, they could definitely teach the Mariners a lot about winning up there in the Pacific Northwest. And I also think another one to look out for, AJ Hinch, if he gets let go, could be one. But the Mariners need experience. They need an experienced winner at the helm in both the dugout and also at the top. I mean, Dipoto needs to be gone. It's time that con man gets gone in Seattle, and it's time that someone else replaces him as head of baseball ops in Seattle, and things change, because if things don't change, the Mariners, I can tell you, they're going to be stuck in neutral. It's going to be neutral. It's going to be neutral, and Jerry DiPoto can keep bringing in however many managers he really wants. It's not going to change. It's not going to change. So another guy to consider for the not the dugout, but for the for president of baseball ops, if Jerry DiPoto does let go. If I'm the Mariners and I fire Jerry DiPoto, my first call would be to John Daniels. You look at what John Daniels has built or did build in Texas. He went to the World Series a couple of times, back to back. Yes, he didn't win it, but yes, he should have won in 2011, but he didn't win it. But those were some damn good teams right there, with guys like Michael Young, Adrian Beltre, Elvis Andrews. He hired some really good managers like Ron Washington, Jeff Bannister. And then you look at this Ranger squad. He built the foundation for them. Like, he drafted guys like Evan Carter, Josh Jung. He helped bring in guys like Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, and Adolis Garcia as well. So I do hope that if the Mariners do let go of Jerry DiPoto, which they absolutely should, because like I said, that guy's a con artist, bring in John Daniels. I think John Daniels would be an amazing fit to run the show in the Pacific Northwest. And finally, Mariners fans would have some exciting baseball to look out for, instead of the neutral, boring baseball that Jerry DiPoto and his crew is constantly bring to the Seattle Mariners. So that's my thoughts on the Mariners firing Scott Servais. Not a surprise, but I mean, it's just half of the problem. The bigger half still remains with Jerry DiPoto, and unless you get rid of the bigger half and the entire problem, you're not going to go anywhere. So hopefully Seattle listens to me and fires their manager Scott's their GM Jerry DiPoto. I think that they have to do it. They have to get rid of him. He's been there too long. Only one playoff appearance in 9 years. Absolutely unexcusable and not acceptable. You have to fire him right now after the season ends and get rid of that con artist. So let's get into our next topic. Let's go to the NFL. And this is going to be the bulk of the show, folks. The NFL season is a couple of weeks away. And folks, we are going to get into the exciting part of the NFL preseason. And that is making predictions for the NFL season. Now, I'm not going to get you and give you my full predictions for playoff teams and Super Bowl and all of that stuff, but we're going to get into some NFL division predictions. We're going to get into the NFL division predictions here today. I've got my whole list, and you guys know me. I'm a crazy person. I make a lot of crazy takes. So you're going to probably see a lot of fireworks here on this show. We are going to save our full predictions for the NFL preview special that's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks. So make sure you guys tune in for that. But let's go. NFL preview, NFL division predictions. We've got right here as we transition into our NFL segment. We're going to do this topic. We're going to go AFC first, and then we're going to go with the NFC. All right. And then we're going to go. We're going to do one more topic, and then after that, we will end the show. But let's go with our NFL division predictions. Man, I am ready for this. The NFL season is just a couple of weeks away, and the exciting part is about to happen. But let's get into it, folks. NFL division predictions. Let's start with the AFC East. The AFC East has had a lot of changes this offseason. Bill Belichick, longtime head coach of the New England Patriots, is no longer with the New England Patriots as their head coach. He is not a head coach anywhere else. He is going to be working media this year. So can't wait to see where he ends up. But for the AFC East, Patriots have a new coach in Gerard Mayo. They have a new quarterback in Drake May, who they drafted number 3 overall. The Jets, Aaron Rodgers is back following the Achilles injury. The Jets also brought in Mike Williams. They brought in 2 great tackles in Morgan Moses and also Tyrone Smith. And, you know, made a lot of good moves offensively for the Jets. We know their defense is very good. The Buffalo Bills traded Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans. They've also they lost Gabriel Davis to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They re-signed Taylor Rapp to a 3-year extension to be their safety. They did lose Jordan Poyer. And then you look at the Dolphins. The Dolphins, you know, got Tyreek Hill an extension. The Miami Dolphins lost Vic Fangio to the Eagles for defensive coordinator. Also, the Miami Dolphins didn't really do a lot this offseason. So my prediction for the AFC East, folks, is I'm going to go with the New York Jets. I think that it's going to be a battle between them and Buffalo. I trust Aaron Rodgers. I trust that defense. That defense was really good again last year. They dominated, and guess what? That defense won them 5 games, I believe it was. And if they had a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, that defense, that team, the Jets, with that defense would have won them at least 12 games. And I think they got better. I think Rodgers is going to be better protected. And I think that with that defense, Buffalo's lost a lot of pieces. Josh Allen doesn't have a number 1 threat that really scares you. They don't really have a wide receiver threat that really scares you. And I think you're going to see a lot of frustration out of Josh Allen this season. And I mean, Miami's a very good team, but their defense, a lot of injuries. I still don't trust them. And then the Patriots, you know, if they had gotten Brandon Ayuk, I would have said watch out for them because I think they could be in that wild card mix, but they're just too young. I mean, I like Drake May, but I think he needs a couple of years to get polished. I think that it would be smart for them to sit him, you know, behind Jacoby Brissett, Gerard Mayo. That defense lost Matthew Judon. He's now with the Atlanta Falcons. So I just think that for that division, it's going to come down to the Jets and the Bills, and give me the more firepower. The Jets with Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, that scares me a lot more than what the Bills have to offer with their uncertain group of wide receivers and their playmakers. So give me the Jets. I'm going to go with the Jets to win the AFC East, and Aaron Rodgers and the Jets bounce back. Rodgers will play a full season. I can guarantee you that. And, you know, I think that he will end up playing a full season and he'll be very effective. And I think that Rodgers will be in the running for MVP in his return from his Achilles injury. So I'm going with the Jets, folks, to win the AFC East. It should definitely be a very, very fun division to watch. Let's move on to the AFC South, where the Jaguars got Gabriel Davis. They got a lot better. They got more pieces on defense. The Houston Texans got Stephon Diggs from Buffalo in a trade. The Indianapolis Colts returned Anthony Richardson. And also they got Laila Latu, the star pass rusher from UCLA. He is now part of the Colts. And also the Tennessee Titans have a new head coach. Brian Callahan replaced Mike Vrabel, who was surprisingly fired by the Tennessee Titans. The Titans also lost Derrick Henry, but they added Tony Pollard to their team. So a lot of changes in the AFC South as well. For me, in this division, I think that it's going to come down to the Jags and the Texans. And you know what? I'm not really that sold on CJ Stroud. I'll tell you that. I think that last year he burst onto the scenes because I think he really shocked a lot of people. A lot of teams didn't really have film on him. Bobby Slowick did a great job of cratering that scheme to CJ Stroud's strengths. Well, now people have film on him. They have film on what he could do on that offense. And I know Stephon Diggs getting him really helps a lot, but think about what Stephon Diggs is. He has a lot of attitude issues. And, we already saw in the preseason where he did not get any targets. He did not get any catches in that first series they played. And he was immediately, I know it was a nothing conversation, but he was immediately barking up CJ Stroud and, having a heated talk with him. It's like if you in a preseason first series, you already having heated conversations, like that's a problem. So I think that when adversity hits, it might just get worse and worse and worse. And I think with the Jags, Trevor Lawrence is finally healthy. He's got the weapons in Gabriel Davis, and Christian Kirk as well. And they do it. They have upgraded the weapons. Doug Peterson's a great play caller. Offensive line, I think that they will be a lot better than they were last season. The defense got more pieces in free agency in the draft, so they'll be a lot better. So give me the Jags. I think the Jags win this division. They should have won the last year. They should have been the number one seed in the AFC before they collapsed, but I think a lot of that had to do with Trevor Lawrence's injuries, and I think that, he's going to have a revenge tour. So give me the Jags to win that division. So I got Jets and Jags, AFC East and AFC South. Let's move to the AFC. Let's move to the AFC North now, where this is a very fun division. Give me a second, folks. I'm gonna just grab some water real quick, and then we'll go on with the program. All right, folks, appreciate it. Let's go to the AFC North. This division, Russell Wilson's now with the Steelers. Justin Fields is with the Steelers. Russ and Justin Fields are battling. We'll see who ultimately wins that quarterback competition. The Cleveland Browns, they, added Jerry Jeudy over the offseason. They made the playoffs last year. Litany of quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson was not healthy again. They just rotated quarterbacks back and forth. Kevin Stefanski won Coach of the Year. He was phenomenal for the Cleveland Browns. You look at the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, they added Derrick Henry to make with him and Lamar. That's going to be even more scarier. That defense is loaded. It's going to be phenomenal. About the Cincinnati Bengals, I mean, Joe Burrow is back. The Bengals, Jamar Chase, however, is not practicing. That could affect them in the early going. Tyler T. Higgins is still there. The defense took a step back last year, so that's definitely a question mark. For me, I'm going to go, with this division, I think the Ravens are a great threat. I think that, but I can't trust Lamar Jackson. Pittsburgh, they've got their question marks. I think Russell Wilson is going to actually be better than what a lot of people are saying there in Pittsburgh. I think the Cleveland Browns, I think with Deshaun Watson healthy, if he's healthy, I think Cleveland can be a Super Bowl contender. And then, so for this division, I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with the Browns. I like their defense with Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward. I love, I think Watson, when he's healthy, is very dynamic. And then you add in Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy with Kevin Stefanski calling plays and his brilliance as an offensive play caller. I think the Browns beat out both the Bengals, the Ravens and the Steelers for that division. And I think this is going to be Mike Tomlin's last season because, like the thing with what we talked about with the Seattle Mariners, enough is enough with mediocrity. I mean, Mike Tomlin, yes, he won a Super Bowl, but he's been there for so long. And how many Super Bowls has he been to? He's been to 2, lost won one, and has had so many mediocre seasons the last few years, just 9-8, 9-8, 9-8. Enough is enough. I think they move off of Mike Tomlin. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers will not make the playoffs. In fact, I think they finished last with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And then Joe Burrow, I mean, I like their offense, but their defense has a lot of question marks. I don't trust them. Give me the Ravens number 2, give me the Bengals number 3, and then give me the Steelers at number 4. So I got the Browns winning the AFC North. AFC West. A lot of changes in this division. I mean, the Chiefs, back-to-back Super Bowl champs. They got Xavier Worthy, the one of the top receivers in the draft, added to them. Mahomes gets a number 1 now. They also, Kansas City, the Chargers. They saw the Chargers get Jim Harbaugh from Michigan. He's going to be a big improvement for them. Jesse Minter, new defense coordinator. The Chargers, yes, lost Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, but, Quentin Johnson, he was a stud at TCU. He's expected to step up. Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, after the whole offseason where everybody was like, are they going to be traded? Are they going to be cut? They actually ended up staying. But I think with Jim Harbaugh, he's got the best quarterback he's ever had in his entire NFL coaching career, and even coaching career in general, with Justin Herbert. I mean, you could argue Andrew Luck, but Justin Herbert is a better thrower of the football. He's very, very he's a guy that always stays on the football field. And then, yeah, they lost Austin Eckler, but they did get Gus Edwards from the Baltimore Ravens. We're healthy. He is a stud, and that defense, I think Jesse Minter, the reason why the defense was so bad, despite having all that talent, was because of Brandon Staley. He doesn't know how to run a defense, and I think that Jesse Minter will definitely do a better job utilizing the pieces that he has. And I wouldn't be shocked if the Chargers have the best defense in the NFL. I mean, they have the talent to do it. I think that with Minter now, I think that the Chargers definitely could have the best defense in the NFL if utilized right with the coaching that they have there with Jesse Minter. And then you talk about the Broncos. Bo Nix is their new starting quarterback. Sean Payton's got his quarterback. He drafted him out of Oregon. They got Franklin, the wide receiver, as well, Troy Franklin. I think Denver, honestly, will be a lot better than a lot of people expect. And I think Bo Nix, you saw last year what a great rookie quarterback can do for a team, even though they're deprived of weapons. C.J. Stroud put the team on his back and lifted them. I think Bo Nix could do the same with a dynamic coach in Sean Payton, and in that offense where you saw in the preseason, he was playing a lot against the ones. He had 8 drives total, 7 of them accounted for scoring plays. So I could definitely see that. And then the Raiders, I mean, they retained Antonio Pierce as their head coach. They brought in Tom Telesco as their GM. They brought in Gardner Minshew, who's going to be their starting quarterback. But other than that, they got Brock Bowers, who's an absolute stud. I think he could be in line for Rookie of the Year. But I think the Raiders will be one of the worst teams in football this year. For me, this division, I'm going to go with the surprise, folks. I am going with Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos to win this division. Yes, sir. I think that an electrifying rookie quarterback can do wonders for a team. You look at the Texans, I think the Broncos can be this year's Texans. Their defense was damn good last year with Vance Joseph. All they needed was a quarterback. They have weapons with Cortland Sutton and Javonte Williams, the running back. Their tight ends are pretty decent. I think they just needed that quarterback that could utilize the weapons. And with Sean Payton and Bo Nix, I mean, Bo Nix is going to be dynamic for the Broncos with both his arm and his legs, and I'm really buying him. Look, I think the Chiefs are going to suffer kind of a Super Bowl hangover. I think Denver's going to be a lot better than everybody expect. I think the Chargers will be really good, but I think the Broncos can win at least 11 games and beat out both the Chiefs and the Chargers for that division. That's how good of a coach Sean Payton is. That's how good of a match him and Bo Nix is. And I know the Chiefs, they retained everybody, but guess what? That Super Bowl hangover is real. And I think that I could see Kansas City kind of lagging like they did last year in the regular season. And that costing them a couple of games. I could see that the Chargers, the lack of weapons with Harbaugh, Justin Herbert, affecting Justin Herbert. So give me the Broncos. I'm going with the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix to surprise everybody and win the AFC West. But let's go to the NFC side of things before we go into our last topic and then wrap it up. NFC East. We got the Cowboys. Didn't do anything at all. I mean, Dak Prescott could be a free agent at the end of this season. The Mike McCarthy was kept for some damn reason. I don't know why. They lost Tony Pollard. CeeDee Lamb still has not had a new deal, so that's a big problem for the Dallas Cowboys. The Giants, Daniel Jones is back following injury. They did add Brian Burns, the stud pass rusher from the Carolina Panthers. The Commanders added Jaden Daniels in the draft. Dan Quinn is their new head coach, former defensive coordinator of the Cowboys. I think he'll make a big impact there. And then, the Eagles, they brought Vic Fangio from the Dolphins back as their defensive coordinator. McKellen Moore is their new offensive coordinator. Nick Sirianni's kind of on the hot seat there in Philly. You guys know me. I don't believe in Jalen Hurts. I think he's not a good passer at all. I think that's going to be what's cost them, but they do have Saquon Barkley. So their offense is loaded, but that quarterback, can he throw the football? Can he throw the football and get it to his weapons? I don't know. And, defensively, they're still a big mess. So even with Fangio. So having said that, folks, I got a couple of bold predictions. I got a couple of fiery predictions for y'all. Folks, Jaden Daniels is going to lead the Washington Commanders to the playoffs and to the NFC East title. That division is going to be weak as hell. You have 3 of the 4 coaches potentially on the hot seat. Dan Quinn, I think he's a great defensive mind. He is going to fix that defense up there in the nation's capital. But you have like I said, with Bo Nix, you have a great rookie quarterback that electrifies everything. That can completely change the trajectory of your franchise just like that. We saw that with the Houston Texans. They had no weapons whatsoever, and they had a really barren team. And guess what? You had that rookie quarterback, and all of a sudden, they made the playoffs. I think Jaden Daniels can be like that for the Washington Commanders. I think that Dan Quinn fixes that defense in year 1, and I think that defense can be pretty decent. Remember, you just got to be decent to win that division, because the Eagles, I don't trust the quarterback. I think Hurts is going to have another really bad year. Saquon, those injuries limited him. We'll see what happens. Philly's offensive line is not the same after the retirement of Jason Kelce. Their defense is a big mess. The Cowboys are a big mess. Dak Prescott has 1 year left. CeeDee Lamb might not play. Who knows? That defense lost a lot of players as well. They lost Tony Pollard. They don't have a dynamic running game. So I think the Cowboys are going to miss the playoffs. I think they're going to be number 3. But yeah, give me the Commanders. I think the Commanders, they're the team. I believe in Jaden Daniels. He is a great quarterback. I think he comes in, electrifies everybody, and wins that division, makes the playoffs. So give me the Commanders to win the NFC East and shock everybody. That is one of my bold hot takes of the night. And then let's get into the NFC South. I mean, that is a crazy division as well. Atlanta got Kirk Cousins. They finally got a quarterback. They also drafted Michael Penix Jr. The Buccaneers re-signed Baker Mayfield. But also, they lost Devin White in free agency to the Philadelphia Eagles. Shaq Barrett, he went to the Dolphins and he retired. So he's gone from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Carolina Panthers new head coach Dave Canales. Hopefully, he can unlock Bryce Young. And then you look at the Saints. You know, Dennis Allen is on the hot seat in New Orleans. Derek Carr hoping for a bounce back year in New Orleans. You know what? This is for me. I'm gonna go with the Falcons. You know, they added Kirk Cousins. All they needed was a quarterback. They have the weapons with Drake London, and Kyle Pitts, and also Bijan Robinson. They need a coach that can utilize that. I think Raheem Morris' staff will be able to with Kirk Cousins. And also the defense is going to be so underrated. They got better with Judon. They got Justin Simmons to man the secondary. I think Atlanta is going to run away with this division. I think that, they have the pieces now. New Orleans, I don't know. Derek Carr took a massive step back. I don't know what it was last year. He definitely showed signs of age. The defense was good, but the offense was atrocious. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be as good. I think they're going to kind of be like that mediocre team, It really all depends on how Carr plays for the Saints. The Buccaneers, I think they're going to take a step back. I think Baker got lucky last year. I think that they lost a lot of pieces, both offensively and defensively. So I think that they're going to take a step back. And then the Panthers, I think they're going to be better than they were last year, but they're still a work in progress. So give me the Falcons to win that division. NFC North. Let's go into this division where there's a lot of changes as well. I mean, Detroit made the NFC Championship game last year. The Packers are on the come up with Jordan Love, who surprised everybody and looked absolutely amazing, especially in that NFC playoff game against the Cowboys. The Vikings, Justin Jefferson got his new deal. Sam Darnold is now their quarterback. J.J. McCarthy lost for the season. Their defense got a lot better, definitely. And then the Bears. I mean, they got Caleb Williams at the helm. They got hopefully their new franchise quarterback. They added Keenan Allen. For me, I am going to go with the Green Bay Packers. I think Jordan Love has a lot of Mahomes like stuff inside of him. He was very impressive last year. I know they lost Aaron Jones, but it doesn't matter. Aaron Jones wasn't very that effective last year. He was always hurt. AJ Dillon will help them for sure. And then you look at the running game. Matt LaFleur, doesn't matter who's the running back for the Packers. He's always turned out some really good running backs in his tenure there. The defense was very, very solid last year. I just think in that division, Lions, it's going to be Lions and Packers. I could see the Bears definitely being in it because, you look at Keenan Allen. I think he's going to have a big year. Talk about fantasy. Keenan Allen, if you play fantasy football, draft him because you look at him, right? He's going to be the number 2 receiver. He's going to be going up against number 2 cornerbacks. And if he stays healthy, you got DJ Moore and you got Keenan Allen. DJ Moore will be taking away all the attention. Keenan Allen is going to explode in Chicago with Caleb Williams. And that defense, I think, was definitely turned it up in the second half and was a lot better. So I'm going to go with the Packers, but this is going to be a very, very tight race division. I think every team except Minnesota makes it very, very tough. So give me the Packers to win it. NFC West, last but not least, Niners made the Super Bowl, sadly lost to the Chiefs. Brock Purdy is back. Christian McCaffrey is back. Hopefully, we don't know about Brandon Ayuk or Trent Williams, but hopefully they're back too. Ayuk's the bigger question mark. George Kittle is back. Deebo Samuel's back. They upgraded their defense, got younger. Yetur, Garagos Matos, Leonard Floyd. They got a guy opposite of Nick Bosa now, finally. The secondary is still a big question mark. A lot of young pieces there. Nick Sorensen is their new defensive coordinator. In the NFC West, also the Seahawks have a new head coach after a decade of Pete Carroll. Mike McDonald is the new head coach after Pete Carroll was forced into retirement by the Seahawks. The Seahawks, they got some pieces on defense. they're hoping that Mike McDonald can fix their defense, which really was their Achilles heel last year. I don't believe in Geno Smith whatsoever. I think Drew Lock, if he had started, I think the Seahawks would be in the playoffs this season. So, and then the Cardinals, I mean, they got Marvin Harrison Jr., one of the best receivers in college football last year. He's gives Kyler Murray his first reliable number one fearsome target since Larry Fitzgerald and since DeAndre Hopkins, and now he's got one. And the Cardinals were actually pretty decent last year. They were supposed to be one of the worst teams in all of football. They actually surprised a lot of people. Defense got better late in the season, and now you add a number one wide receiver. They should be even better offensively. And then the Rams. I mean, Matthew Stafford is back. He is hanging on to the last legs of his career. Aaron Donald's retired, so that defense will definitely take a step back. The Rams, Cooper Kupp, 1 year removed from injury. Puka Nacua, he's dealing with some knee issues, so we don't know what's going to happen on that front. For me, I'm going to go with the Niners. I think the Niners are definitely class above everybody in the NFC West. I think the Niners, they have a tough schedule, but I think the Niners with that division, there's really nobody in that division that fears me. So the one that maybe comes a little close is Arizona, but that's about it. I think that Arizona will surprise a lot of people. Seattle, they hired McDonald because he's very good against the Shanahan scheme, and he's a very great defensive coach, but it's going to take time for them to fix their defense, so I don't see them making the playoffs at all. And then you have the Rams. I think the Rams will be in the mix, but it all depends on Stafford's health. And Stafford, like I said, he's holding on to the last legs of his career. So I'm going to go with the Niners. I think Purdy is in the MVP conversation. McCaffrey as well. And the defense, I think, is a lot better, actually. And their defense was solid, but not as great as Niner defenses of old. So those are my predictions, AFC and NFC. Feel free to comment your predictions for both the AFC and NFC, and I will read them live on the air. Well, folks, you know what? I'm going to save the last topic for our Kicking It with Cruz or our Sports Weekly regular shows, an NFL preview special. So, folks, we'll save it for that, but we'll call it a night right now, folks. It's been a great show. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Whether this was your first time tuning in or whether you always tune in, please go ahead and like and subscribe to our page. We really appreciate it. We pump out great sports content every single week. And, we just want to, talk sports and have fun. That's our motto. So make sure you guys click on and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram channels. But folks, it's been a great show. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to tonight's program. I know it was just at a random time, so appreciate everybody for the love and the support. But folks, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate the love and the support. We're going to have a college football preview show coming up next week, and then we're going to have an NFL preview special the week after. So it's a lot of exciting shows, man. Football is officially back. It starts this Saturday with Hawaii versus Delaware State, and then we go from there with week one, which I'll be at one of the week one games at San Jose State, one of the San Jose State games against Sacramento State, and then the NFL starts it up. So it's going to be very, very exciting times. But guys, it's been a great show. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys back on here on the MI6 Sports Network and the IM6 Sports Network some other time this week. All right? Have a great night, everybody.
But I said, if you gave me Mahomes, if you gave me Lamar Jackson with his great legs and Mahomes' great arm, or you gave me Baker Mayfield, who would I want? I would want Baker Mayfield, and the reason why is because Baker Mayfield...
I really think that now this is the worst case scenario for the San Francisco 49ers, is that they're going to have to cut ties with Jimmy Garoppolo if I were them.
What? Oh my
my God!
Wow!
Man!
In any event, Kyle Gibson is definitely my NL Cy Young Award winner. Rock on, Gibby.
And even
Oh
if
my!
you-
Oh!
No way! Oh my God!